Oh man, we gotta put on our dad hat for this one, man.
Mm,
It
mm.
was it was a social media post talking about um parents let their kids leave at who make their kids leave at 18. And there was also a rebuttal to that saying that the world is so difficult now. How can you let your kids leave at 18? So I'm gonna ask y'all, how do y'all feel about that? And what do you think is a age appropriate to for your kids to leave the nest?
So, this is an interesting, thing. So I have a daughter that's gonna be turning 18 next month. I, you know, I I look at my situation. I come from a big family, and my sibling. I'm the youngest out of all my siblings, and the majority of my siblings they left, the house at around 18 and stuff like that. I think it's generational where that generation of parents thought that that's what you had to do. You had to go out and become a man or become an adult and make it on your own, figure things out, and if you fall on your face, it's on you, not whatever. And then you have the ones who look at things like they can't make it, so they get coddled and they get to stay home and not do nothing. You know what I mean? So I think it's different, but I think nowadays is looked at differently because it's kind of a generational curse when you look at being pushed out before you're actually ready, before you learn everything that you need to do as a adult. Just because you graduated from college or graduated from high school doesn't mean that you're ready to go out into the real world. You know what I mean? So I think it's a difference if you are not doing anything with your life, you have no plans, no goals, you're not working towards nothing, and then you get pushed out opposed to yeah, I'm trying to build something. I got something in the works. I just need to stay in school a little bit longer and get this degree or get this certificate. I want to save so I'm able to get this. I want to build up my credit. I want to do all these different things. And I think as a parent, if you see your child is doing those things, then there's no reason to push them out. You know what I mean? Or even if they not doing those things, but they need to be pushed towards that. You know what I mean? You know, I'm not saying leave them in there till they 30, but still, you're not really an adult. Just because you're 18 don't mean you know, emotionally and mentally, working on adult time. So I think it varies. Each case is different. I don't see as a problem for anybody who let them stay a little bit longer. I think back in the day, the ones who was pushed out s- more than more than most of them fell on their face because they wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like, where we're from, right? I think we don't understand. We're from so we're from poverty stricken areas, right? So
Right, right.
to tell a kid to get out at 18, you're grown, you need to go figure it out. That's a setup. It's honestly a setup. And I'm gonna just share like me, right? Like growing up, I live with my older brother. Even when I went through college, came home, still was living with my brother. Even when I got my first job, was living with my brother. The skills that a parent may teach a kid, like I really wasn't taught that. Like in terms of, hey, you're gonna have to save some money, and then you're gonna have to uh be able to pay rent or budget your money, whatever, right? So when it came time to get my first apartment, right? Like I still remember this like it was yesterday. My rent My rent was 10.19. The check that I had just got was 10.29, right? And I'm on my own. Like, and I was just living with my brother. I didn't have to save no money. Like I had nothing. So when I got that check, I really only had $10 left. I said, "Ho, something ain't right." Like, and I was scared. I just got my apartment. I had got cable. I'm ordering movies. I don't know that this bill about to come and whack. You know what I'm saying? So I think, like you said, so if you got somebody that's at home and the kid itself is preparing, or the family or the mother and father are preparing them to be able to be on their own, yes, it's okay. But I don't think it's wrong if the kid isn't ready, and you know they're not ready, but you can't just let them sit there just and not do anything. You have to start taking like those small steps, getting a job, teaching about money management, maybe even like doing a mock live on your own. Like, yeah, you live here, but you're now renting this room that you live in just to give them like a little taste of reality. But just saying like, hey, you 18 now, yeah, you're on your own. That's a setup, man. And I think kids go out there, they start trying to figure things out on their own and can't. Like, I think we have a lot of 18. I mean, you pretty much still a kid. We have a lot of kids that's 18 and homeless because of that. They
Yeah.
may have somewhere to stay, but they be 18 and homeless. Like, really don't have a place of their own. They going from house to house because it's just unstable. So, I mean, as a parent, you should do your kids some justice and start teaching at an early age. It's not wrong to teach money management and real life scenarios at 13, 14. They're going to get a job they can work at 15, 16. So I think that's the route that you can go that may help them in the long run. But just saying 18, time to go, I think that's a setup.
Now, I think this, you know what I mean? I think that it's good that we can uh bring our kids along with us on the journey on teaching them how to be adults.
Hmm.
But the thing is, we got to also remember if we're going to keep these kids past 18, 19, 20, and going further, we got to remember that they have to grow. You know what I mean? So we have to, as parents, we're going to have to, like, hey, we're going to have to either change the way we think when it comes down to the kids because they're not kids. So when I say that is when they want to do stuff in the house, they want to have company. They want to do this. They want to do that. Things of that. When what they want to do, we're going to shut it down because we're the parents. We're like, yo, this is our house. You ain't having no, no dude coming to the house or no girls coming to the house. This and that, whatever, whatever. So if we're going to keep having these kids past, their, adult age, we're going to have to change our focus on what is more important on their growth. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, these kids, they get older, they choose to, they start to resent a little bit because they can't get the freedom that they want. You know what I mean? And they know they're not ready for all the freedom, but they still want some of the freedoms that come with it. You know what I mean? So it's either we get to the point where they're getting, what I mean, if the kids are being disrespectful, whatever the case may be, you're gonna have to separate. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I don't want no kid disrespecting me in my damn house. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? At the end of the day, I just don't want that. But the thing is that am I contributing to his frustration or her frustration? That's how I look at it. I'm all for keeping them in the house, to help them grow, but it has to come with we gotta have some type of game plan depending on your kid. You know what I mean? If your kid is smooth sailing, then you can do what you gotta do. But if you see your kid are fighting to be free, you're gonna have to let them go.
Yeah. I also think about like kind of guiding them. Yeah, they out and they own, they get their own apartment and things like that. And you probably are still helping with certain things. Let's say if you was helping with a car note, right? And they got their own apartment, they could take care of that. You was helping with car note and insurance. But telling them like, hey, I'm gonna do this for a year. So that gives
Mhm.
you a year to kind of get yourself ready. Because in come January of 2027, I'm no longer taking care of this. So whatever happens from here on out, you're on your own. I'm giving you enough time to prepare for that. So I think guiding them in that sense should be okay. And I think it kind of helps them. They have to be mature or they can live for the day and think that that day is never going to come. And then they're going to be kind of shocked when it does. And sometimes they're going to have to, they can fall on their face in ways, but you can still be there to support them too. But like you said, them kids who are jerks, disrespectful, things like that. No, that's. But it's tough too, though, James. Though, because that's your kid.
Yeah, it's
Like,
tough.
so,
It's
so,
tough.
so I think it is extremely tough. It's like, oh man, like I want to say like get the fuck out of my house and never talk, but that's your kid. Like I don't know a lot of people that just cut that tie off like that.
And that's what I was saying before it gets to that point, and
Yeah,
you see that kid is frustrated, and we saying kids because they're our kids, but they could be 19, they could be 20, they could be 25. You know what I mean? Because some parents say you always welcome at the house. They can be freaking 30. You know what I mean? But you still treating them like they're your baby. You know what I mean? And they're living under your roof.
you're welcome at the house till you get back on your feet.
Yeah.
Like, like, like not
You know what I
like yeah,
mean?
you can always come here. You got a place, but you ain't staying here for the rest of your life. Like
'Cause there's some situations where those their kids have kids, and they're all staying in the same roof. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
See,
So
that's when you're gonna lose me.
uh,
You start having kids, you gotta go.
uh,
exactly,
Listen, I'm raising no more kids, bro.
Lord.
and that's the
I want to be that grandparent that you can bring your kid on the weekend, but you ain't living here. Nope.
Yeah, I have a cousin. She actually go to St. Peter's, and like my family don't want her to leave, right? But she's the most respectful, helpful. She actually helps them. They're older, right? So she helps them there. She doesn't have to leave because they also understand how difficult it could be out there, like in the world with paying her own rent. So they allow for her to do that. But she's you know how sometimes you start kids start raising their parents so to speak, like helping them out. So she's super helpful. She's not one of them disrespectful kids. So in a situation like that, like they are making it, they kind of helping her out with understanding like, yo, this is what rents looks like, things like that. Like so when you're prepared, this is what it's gonna be.
yeah.
But she's doing a lot for them in the house. So it's all good. We love her there.
See, I know from my own experience, my mom was the type of mom that she didn't want us to leave.
Hmm.
She preferred for us to stay, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As I tried to go, and she found so many different ways for us to stay, you know what I mean? So, she turned the basement into an apartment, you know what I mean? So that once we get to the point where we're ready to go, man, she knew I was trying to get out. It was right in time with the people that was living downstairs, they left. She was like, "Well, you could take that right there."
There you go.
You know what I mean?
That's it.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, it kinda helped because I needed to grow, you know what I mean? I was doing me, you know what I mean?
Well,
I couldn't be in the house bringing things in the house and she's there, you know what I mean? So, it kinda helped, but then again, it didn't help all the way because she'll still find a way coming downstairs and seeing what the hell I'm doing and complaining, whatever the case may be. So, it helped. It was short-term fix, but you know what I mean? It's just the way how it is. Some parents just not ready to let go.
Shout out to Rod Jack. I would have never left the house. I'll tell you that right now. I'd still been there to this day. I st like we brothers, man. It ain't like father son. That's brothers, man. I'd have stayed there.
uh,
I wasn't paying no rent either.
So what do y'all think is a good age to finally start talking about leaving the crib?
I
23,
don't
24.
think I don't think you said 24. I
Okay,
don't think
if we have to put an age on it, I think 25 at 25, you are grown, bro. Like that's what I'm saying. Like 23, 24. Yeah, we need to start moving in that direction. Even if I gotta help you, if I gotta give you that extra push with some cushion and stuff like that, I get that. Yeah, 23, 24. If we putting a number on it, that's what I would say. But I don't 18, like fresh out of high school, absolutely not. Because one, these schools don't even teach you they don't even give you life skills in there. So I wouldn't think that, nah.
yeah, I don't want to even put an age on it. You know what I mean? Because
Mm,
it's just going to it just depends on the person. You know what I mean? And it depends on their drive, what they got going on, the type of career that they having. Because if you are looking to be a nurse, if you're a nursing, it might be a while before you need to leave. You know what I mean? Because it take schooling and different things and different certificates you got to get and tests and all that stuff before you get to the point where you out on your own. Now, once you get everything, you get to that level, then you gone. You know what I mean? But like it all depends. Now maybe maybe you went the route of a trade, and that you get that quick. You can start making money right away, and maybe with a good trade, you do good with that. Maybe you out the house by 22, 23. You never know. So it all depends, man. I just think and what it depends on is what you're doing. You know what I mean? But what you can't be doing is nothing. Because now if you ain't doing
Yeah,
nothing,
exactly,
we're gonna put
exactly,
something on
exactly,
it then.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So you got to be doing something.
definitely.
You know what I mean? If I had to put an age on it, it would be probably around 20. I would say around 23, maybe, yeah, about 23, actually 22. I would start the conversation of figuring out what their goals are. You know what I mean? I would want to know what what they're trying to do with themselves. I want to know if they trying not to do nothing. You know what I mean? Around that age, I want to know. You know what I mean?
It's right out
Are
of
you
college.
well? You know what I mean? But I'm not saying you have to go. I'm just
Mhm.
saying I want to know what you're trying to do. You know what I mean? Regardless of what it is, you get out of college, whatever the case may be, you're gonna have to have some time to
Yeah.
figure it out.
So
My number
so so
wasn't considering college.
So we talk about all these different careers, right? And we talk about
Yeah.
generation and what they doing nowadays. So now they get out of school. I want to be a streamer, a YouTuber. That's home base. We letting them stick around for that. We buying into it. We believing in we
Yeah,
believing in it.
yeah,
Nah.
you can do that part-time.
Yeah, part-time, yeah. I would
Nah,
say you have
full
to
time, full
you
time. That's how
nah,
But
I'm gonna make money.
I
nah.
I gotta see the dividends, man. Let me look like where that money coming in at. I'm in support of your dream, but that can't be. I ain't got
My
take
thing
off
is when
until it
when
kick
when
off.
are you doing it? When are you doing it to show me that you're making this money?
When I wake up in the morning, in
No,
the
I'm saying
morning.
like yeah, yeah. So like if they've been doing this since 18, you know what I mean, or 16 and whatever the case may be, then I need to see it. You know what I mean? If they're doing it at 23, now I don't know.
That's what these dudes that we just mentioned. I mean, this is when they started it. You know what I mean?
Well, they
Shit,
can.
Kai 23. He was doing that. He started when he was a teenager. You know what I mean? Drewski started when he was around in his early 20s and stuff like that. Drewski a little bit older, but I only brought that up is because that's what these kids nowadays when they look.
Yeah,
We talk
yeah.
about all these traditional jobs and things like that. That's not the goal nowadays. It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot of things towards tech. What we're doing right now, we podcasting now. Obviously, we have our careers and we're doing this right now because we just this is fun, and if something comes from it, great. But this is fun. We ain't getting paid off of this, but we have a career. But these other these kids they look at things and they seeing that maybe this is what I want to do. Maybe I can do this. So when it comes to the non-traditional ways of making money, that might change it a little bit. So it's going to depend. That's all. I'm just bringing that up. It's just a
We not,
way we can look
it's
at it.
so we not getting paid for this? Huh? You ain't say that, bro. How the hell I log off of this thing, man?
Nah, we ain't getting paid.
The hell I signed that contract for nothing? No,
What's
no,
what's that?
AJ
What's that
signed that
meme? That
360
Uncle
deal.
Phil meme? We? Nah, nah, man.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
think like
man.
no, that's a real thing. Like we definitely need to think of like a lot of rappers. I'm a rap. I'm a like all that stuff. Like and you know what?
Yeah.
I think as parents too, I think you kind of gotta shape the goals because these kids, like I think we might have wanted some money growing up. Like these kids want views. Like I don't even know if they wanted to generate money. I don't know. You probably have to talk to a lot of them, but just being able to post a video, a rap video, and get 200 views, like they will be good with. So I think you got to kind of set their mind state or whatever. If it's going to be to bring in some income, like you got to do that early too. But yeah, there's definitely a lot to think about. But my number, when I said 23, it wasn't considering college. I think if my kid went out to college, graduated, and like trying to find his way, I think I'm gonna support that, and I'm gonna encourage it like as much as possible. You accomplished a hell of a feat by going there. Let's sit down and talk about what the next step is, and I wouldn't even put a date on that, but. Of course, we're not going to talk about you getting close to 30. You just graduated 5 years ago. Like, nah. But yeah, I would support that I would support them if they're trying to find their way after graduating from college.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I left a year after college. If I had to think about if I had it back, I would have waited. I would have waited until I was like 28. While I was working, while I was building up my my career and everything like that, saved so much money, I would have waited. You, you just never know. But yeah, let's wrap up
yeah,
because
but shout out to those kids, man, who don't have a support system
Definitely.
and they figure it out. You know what I mean? There's a lot of kids who do figure it out. When they're 18, 19, 20, they figure it out. They get their student loans and they fight through adversity and they do what they got to do. You know what I mean? So shout out to those kids, who don't have those parents in their life that can give them that opportunity to take a break. You know what I mean? They just have to go out there and
Figure it out.
survive. They
Yeah.
have to survive. You know what I mean? So I just like to shout those people out, man. And if y'all keep, what I mean, if you're out there, y'all still working hard and y'all still going to school and all that good stuff, man, keep it up, man. Keep your head up and keep it going. But, what I mean, it was a good day, another good conversation with the fellas, man. And this is paid. We ain't getting paid, Mr. Jackson. We ain't getting paid.
Crazy. That's crazy.